Okay. Perfidy. Deliberate breach of faith, calculated violation of trust, treachery, or the core tenet of Star Trek, the animated series. No, sorry.
Okay. Okay, everybody, welcome to Star Trek, our ongoing journey through the episodes of Star Trek. I'm joined by a wonderful, colourful host of crew here. Big is back from touring the world of Jeopardy and pitching baseballs. Dan is here, as is Stars, and we have just finished watching the Magicks of Megas 2. Possibly the most unhinged episode of Star Trek I think we have ever watched. Gentlemen?
This is a great sequel. I don't really remember the Magicks of Megas 1, but I was glad we got to see this one at least. So.
It's good. It didn't really need much setup.
That's to be illustrated. You watch season 3. Just you watch.
Oh my god! Would they if they brought this back? So can we just absorb the fact that right now Kirk saved Satan, and he was a good guy all along? That's a
and they use
ending.
To write that.
They use that as the stinger at the end of the episode. Yeah. And Spock is so happy that he came up with that little chestnut at the end of it. So yeah.
I'm reeling. Like
yeah.
Just think, this is all canon. This is canon in Star Trek. This happened.
It should be fired from a cannon, yes.
They went to the LSD dimension.
So it's like, here's the thing, it's like there was just so much talking through the entire episode. It's like they were expositing through the whole thing. It's like wherever they were, whatever they were doing was completely irrelevant because they were just talking. Trying to line all this up.
Proton torpedo magic balls out of their hands, Big.
Well,
not entertained.
I mean, yeah.
But
they
TBD.
They set it up like they say, like, okay, we're going to go into this world of, like, you know, where time and space and things don't make sense, and you're thinking, okay, well, what they're going to do is like, no, it's just, we're going to do any Saturday morning cartoon shit we want. Like, this is just going to go off the wall. It was mad.
You know what it actually reminded me of? Like, between, like, the production value, the way it played out, the animation, and Lucian in particular, is like his characterization. It reminded me of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
No, I haven't seen that.
Like, there's something, there's something about that particular tone that felt like that, and it's like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Like, I don't know if that's something they should be proud of.
No, well, it's like Ida was saying, they set it up to where they could go anywhere, they could do anything, and what do they do with it? Pilgrims and pillories. And some random like forest glen with a couple of random people in it, and that it's animation. You have unlimited capability to do whatever you want.
Unlimited power. Like some of the early Towns episodes we watched were like, oh wow, cool, they are using this format to do some wild things they couldn't before. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, never has it felt less like humanity was on trial than it did this time.
The trial never ended.
So, being as it never started. So yeah. Anyway,
look, I'm just saying we should get John Delancey back to play Lucian for his inevitable live-action debut.
Well, yeah,
just to take it all come full circle.
It could have been a Q. This could, I mean, we saw the Q dimension in Q and the Grey as like a load of sort of Civil War fight. This could have just been another facet of the Q continuum when they were all pilgrims settling in. But no, it was definitely not. But fun fact: this was written by Larry Brody. He also wrote one more episode of Star Trek. You won't get it, but I'll give you a chance to guess. It was in the 90s era. So can you predict what episode he wrote? You won't get it, but I want to.
Devil's Due.
It was not the Devil's Due, but good. A good link.
No.
I like that.
No, because Devil's Due was a recycled Star Trek 2 spec script along with The Child.
Yes.
Yeah, those were the two. Oh shoot.
Muse, that DS9 episode?
Not Muse, no.
I'm Move Along Home.
It was not Move Along Home. No, it was from Voyager and it was Tattoo. If you remember that episode. Yeah, he wrote that and this Absolute wild episode. He'd unsuccessfully pitched this story for the 3rd season of the original series. I wonder why. But just some fun facts behind the scenes. Gene Roddenberry liked the thought of the Enterprise being confronted by God. Gene thought that it was the greatest thing he'd ever heard of.
We call this foreshadowing, folks.
He said, I've been trying for years to get that out in any way, never really thought about doing it. So he'd do it. And then Dorothy Fontana, famous DC Fontana, said, good news is that we're making a deal. You're going to write the episode we talked about. The bad news is we can't use God, but we can use the devil. So originally this story was about a planet of devils, but as predicted, Gene Roddenberry took the script and completely rewrote loads of the dialogue for it. We all know what Gene Roddenberry's like. That's what he does. But apparently his Brody recalled after watching it saying, "Oh, my name and only my name was still on the cover," and at least there's that.
Well, not only that, but so now we understand that William Shatner in his directorial Star Trek debut just blatantly ripped off this episode, and it's just like, oh, let's just change enough here. Like, you change a few adjectives to submit the paper that your roommate submitted, and now this is all of a sudden Star Trek 5. So yeah.
Well, you know what? If you
that explains so much that happened in Star Trek 5. So,
like, if you ever needed confirmation that God may not have been dead but is dead now, it's a case if you couldn't make the Star Trek crew meet God in the 70s, but you could meet him in the 80s. That's fine. Yeah, at some point in between those points, God died, so you could feature him in live action media.
Where was your old buddy Lucian? Like, I can also remark about how weird Lucian's animation was, because Taz isn't the pillar for animation; they're all quite stilted, but his was like they drew 3 separate parts: his torso and his thing, and his hand as well. He's freaking giving us a high five every 5 seconds. But yeah, he just seemed to be really like they were just like, I'm going to make the buffest person possible. You got to make a move. What? Oh, okay. Well, his arms are just going to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is also the voyage home too. So it's Star Trek's 4 and 5 because they went back to Earth. TAS is the key, man.
TAS is the blueprint.
No, I think their only concern with Lucian was making him as absolutely yoked, ripped to the gills as possible. Like that's 0% body fat, and I mean, I guess that's what you want in your
explain something to
evil
me.
tempter, but
the Megans. Yes. I know they want to say Megans. That's Megans.
Not the Stephanies, not the Amandas.
Yes.
The Megan.
The Heathers, no, the Heathers, no. They don't. They look like Space Ghost people, right? So they're the Space Ghost Coast to Coast people, right? Why do some of them look like pilgrims, but just Lucian looks like the devil? I was just like, well, hang on.
Well, he doesn't even really look like the devil. He just looks like a satyr from ancient Greece.
Yeah, a little bit fantastical, isn't he? But yeah, he's got the.
But it's like that's not traditionally how you would depict the devil.
I like he brags at the start, and he's just like, "Oh yes, I used to go down to Earth and sort of talk to people and influence them, and then they started burning me."
You leave Mr. Tumnus to his own devices for that long. It just eventually goes to evil. That's.
See, the problem is
he was out of Aslan's presence for that long, and so.
God damn it, James McAvoy. Yeah. The problem is that every time someone just made him a deal, so every time you spat exposition, you have to do 10 push-ups, and he just could not stop himself. That's why he has a physique he does.
Every time an exorcism is pursued, he has to do another 15 sit-ups. Like, for God's sake, power of Christ compels you. Shut up.
I mean, from the look of those medicine balls, I mean, those look like they were made out of depleted uranium. Yeah. So
So was this
also remarkably high in protein? Is Quaker Oats. So there you go.
Is it just me, or is this just like a wilder episode than Taz's usual fare? Like this kind of. The plot is kind of coherent, but they do it in such a weird, overly effecty way with such obscure ways of doing it. Because they try and portray
such a right turn. Because it's like the one that sticks out to me as like out there is the one with the weird plant people and the giant plant people and all that. It was a great episode, like great sci-fi concept. But yeah, but it's like that was like a ramp up to insanity. Whereas here it's like. This is a fairly standard Star Trek setup of like, oh, we're going through a weird space wedgie. Oh no, we've fallen through a space wedgie. We're losing all power. And then it just takes a hard left turn, and then it just keeps on going in a left turn until you're in like circling, and then you're dizzy.
Yeah,
So
they didn't really
I-
pull very many punches. They stopped just short of Shatner actually singing "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." Yeah, the whole thing was.
So I think that this episode probably suffered more than a lot of the TAS episodes from just being a half hour instead of a full hour, because it feels like they had to condense so much story into, because like it was very clear the story that they were wanting to tell. They wanted to, like, put humanity on trial, and they were just going to throw as many words out as they had to push that across somehow, no matter what the things on the screen that were actually happening were, because that it was almost two different stories happening at the same time. It was like the tripping balls center of the galaxy planet thing, and then the trial thing, and then just once that cranked up, it was just words, and it just, yeah.
I mean, like, you've got to think there are at least 3 different plots in this episode. The first is, we're entering a strange and unknown dimension where things could go wild. The next is, we've met the devil and he's cool. And then the third one is, there's 4. Third one is, we're going down to a planet where there's strange wizards and stuff. The random wizard, like you said, banana wizard just out there.
Yeah.
Out of just
Banana
like, Dungeons
Gandalf.
and Dragons. And then the fourth one, which is just like, we're on Earth, you need to prove yourself to me to prove that humans aren't really that despicable.
Oh, there's a 5th one, don't forget. And also the TAS crew learns how to do magic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spock just going like, the power of Christ compels me, and moving a small crystal chess piece was all in like 20 minutes. It's wild.
Yeah.
Who knew that the secret to doing magic was just to do a double C Kyle?
Get out of it.
Big, you recoiled, but you lost, so it's fine.
I don't know. Okay. Let's go on to our best worst. We have a new trigger thanks to Auto. We have a trigger for best worst. Here it is for you.
The best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
No.
Just stop saying that.
So, gentlemen, best and worst moments of the episode. Since we haven't seen you for a while, Big, do you want to kick us off? What were your best and worst moments of this episode?
Okay, so I think the best moments were, well, okay. I think that the best idea that they had was tying this to the Salem witch trials, saying that these people were actually the witches. That's a cool idea. It was executed not at all, but that was a cool idea. Because it was just all tell. There was no show. It's like, that was a cool idea to make part of a story around. They did nothing with it. But yeah. So I think that's about the best that I have. Am I doing both, or just
go for it. Go for
first? Okay. So the worst. Oh man. I think the worst is the button. The Spock button on the end of the episode, where he's saying, that's the second time that the devil was cast out, and the first time that he was saved. As if any of those are good things. So, yeah. Well, and it's just that seems wildly out of character for Spock to say, both from like a historical, mythological, logical, all of those things. That just,
yeah, you know what? It feels like they
to McCoy.
It feels like they mixed up the devil with Prometheus here.
Yeah. Like I think if you gave that to McCoy to say instead of Spock, I think that works better. That feels more.
Yeah, you're right.
In character with him. So yeah, that I'll say that's my worst, and cede the floor.
Okay, Dan, best and worst, please.
Best part is that they actually managed to slip talking about a biblical. I guess was Lucifer a fallen angel in the Bible? I don't know, but they managed to slip that past the network censors for a kids show in the '60s and get that on the air. So I mean, kudos to them for making that happen. Can't talk about God. Great, you got it. We're going to talk about the devil instead. Oh shit. All right. Oh whatever. We're too late. We got to air the episode. Worst moment was okay. Guess what, guys? We could do magic now. Magic's real, and we can all do magic. Watch this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back on the bridge, Sulu's like making people, and like it's the best that Spock can do. So
Yeah, making Asian princesses with some like Sulu. What do you want to explain this? Like,
Yeah, Asian princesses that turn into a buff goat person. Like, come on.
Really keeping up appearances, Captain.
All right, stars, best and worst.
oh my god. There's just so much to pick. It's like it just hits so fast and so quick. I think I'm gonna have to give my worst to just like the complete lack of reaction to everything. Just like the stoned quality to everyone's reactions to the random bullshit going on. Like, I know that it's like it's 25 minutes long. You don't want them to be shouting and reacting too emotively because with everything this episode throws at you, they'll be doing nothing but that. But it's like they drop to the foot of the bridge and nearly die like twice in the first 10 minutes, and they're like, "Oh, it's another Wednesday," and it's like
there is a shot where Spock and Kirk can just chill on the floor and is like, "We appear to be encountering an anomaly." Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And it's like.
I know that this is like fairly standard, but can you treat it like you're dying?
Yeah.
Like, I know you're in the recording booth, but it's surely in the script you're reading from. It must tell you what the situation is.
I mean, they were
act like it.
They were in between Mai Tais in the recording session, and they were just getting
Yeah, and you know what? You know how I always like make sure to single out whenever Shatner gives a great performance, like especially in Twilight Zone. I made sure that both times he was on, he gave an amazing performance. This was one of his worst performances I've ever seen on a Star Trek project. Like, he was just... I am fully convinced that there were pauses in there that were him turning the page of the script and then reading the next line. Because they were that unnatural.
Mr. Shatner, we're running out of reel now. I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Best moment? You know what? I will actually feel... I do kind of like this image of the devil as, like... He doesn't quite feel like the devil again. He feels like more like Prometheus, but I do appreciate this kind of trickstery energy, but not really a trickster. He's too good-hearted for that. He's got a bit of that Trelane Q thing, but he's also not that complicated. He's just a nice guy.
He's just some guy, you know?
Just looking for a drinking buddy.
Yep. And I feel like you could develop this idea, and that'd be because I'm a sucker for really interesting versions of like of death and the devil in fiction. Like, I really like Sandman for that reason. I really like the original Ghost Rider with Nick Cage is actually a really interesting version of death of the Satan as like a sleazy car dealer almost. And I appreciate when you take that concept and you run with it. And if you push this concept far enough, I like the idea of the devil not as someone who tempts you to do things, but is just so much fun to be around that he pushes you to such heights, and then you do things you regret. I kind of like. That's pushing it almost into fanfiction territory, but there's an idea here.
Yeah.
I could see that if you gave this a much longer period and actual character development than arc, you could go places. So, and like mentioned, fucking Jimmy Doohan is acting his goddamn heart out. Like, you can tell it's him, but he's going for it. He is emoting. He is putting every force he can.
He's like, I'm getting paid double for this, right? No. Oh.
No, never.
I mean,
never.
That Lucian voice is about as far as I've heard him away from what I'm used to hearing him as it can get. Yeah, this whole episode just kind of feels like the cake batter was put in the microwave for about 90 seconds, and that's it. That's all you got.
Of different food colorings in there, and just mix it all up out.
Yeah.
I'll go by best moment. I liked that they used, I mean, they reused them, but I like the effects that they do in this, and they try to make it a wild, trippy encounter. Like when they beam down to the planet and Kirk's all kind of wiggly, like he's walked into a funhouse mirror, or like, you know, you kind of get sort of like Enterprise not just shooting at a random green orb, they're going through weird space. You know, they made an effort to make this try and seem so trippy. My second best moment is when they're on the planet talking to Lucian. He's going, "Oh, my wonderful people," and they pan over to a wizard in a yellow suit, just magically makes some avant-garde art out of nowhere. Just like like that wizard. I want that character in Timelines. Where is my banana wizard from Taz? Like,
come on, yeah.
I need fake crew now. Come on. Worst moment. I don't know. I feel like my worst moment is the culmination of just how they randomly pivoted to Salem all of a sudden. Like, okay, the Lucian stuff was just kind of like, okay, we've got some kind of trickster god. He's going to do something nefarious, and there's this planet. And what's his angle here? He's the devil, right? And all of a sudden, like, no, here's some genuine, like, people that are referred to in history as quite fucked up and bad and the cause of a lot of problems. Here they are. They're just, oh yeah, we're Megans. And yeah, we're going to put you on trial and put you in. It's just a wild thing. It's a little bit of suspension of disbelief. Like, your alien people, just have them come out as the Space Ghost people. And they go, look, this is us, our real us.
As Dan said, there's like the one random conquistador in there for no real reason.
Yeah, that was weird.
I got the wrong time. So yeah, that's kind of my worst moment. I mean, I think we all feel like there's a lot of, I don't know, bizarre or bad stuff going on in this episode, but
well, it's like, here's the thing. It feels like there are a bunch of really good ideas, and just none of them are given a fair shake. And it just it's soup.
We've seen that a lot with TAS. It's just so hyper accelerated. They don't have time to ponder on anything for too long.
This felt worse though. This felt like this was just breakneck speed, like go from one trippy effect to the other, and like, I don't know if they just ran out of time and just threw all the paints at the palette and just like went print it, put it through. But it was wild. Okay, let's go on to our rating.
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3.5. Associational rating norm -3. That's much too low a rating.
Much too low a rating.
Seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
That's right. And as per usual, stars, what is our rating criteria for this wild episode?
Gentlemen, how many magic rap battles out of 10 would you like to give the Magicks?
Oh my god, I completely
to...
forgot about that bit as well. Kirk and the Salem guy just having a wizarding battle.
As well, they couldn't
like, this happened.
And he couldn't stop during it as well. It wasn't even just like, I'm going to fire. It's like, no, I'm going to keep on talking.
Kirk's been given the glasses in the Wrath of Khan, thankful that he doesn't have to take Retnax 5 anymore because it doesn't work, and he remembers back to McCoy. He's like, remember that time I was a wizard? Oh dear. But okay, how many magical rap battles will you give this one? Big, please.
Okay. So I'm torn here because am I rating it based on what it could have been or what it is? Because what it is, I would say it's about like a 3 out of 10. Just because it's crazy enough to have a little bit of entertainment value on its own. But it's like, if you're rating it on what it could have been, I'd say it's probably the potential of like a 5. But I think you have to grade it on what's there. And I think it's too much. It's too much, and then also not enough at the same time. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to stick on a 3 out of 10.
3, wow. Dan.
So I mean, this was nonsense, right? So like, this isn't really, there's no plot here. And so is the argument that, okay, if we had all the budget to throw at this and we could make this really great, and we could actually have everybody appear on screen and travel to Nimbus 3 and then have Uhura Banana Dance and do all this, do all the things that we want to do. Would this be better? Would this be improved? If we gave this an hour and a half and made people pay just to see this one episode and sit in the theater, would this be better? No, there's no amount that you can take this and make it bigger. At its core, it's one of the most trite things in sci-fi. We're going to the center of the universe. We're going to the center of the earth. We're going to the chewy nougat center of a Tootsie Roll pop. Just nothing. I mean, you could throw darts at a dartboard and write this episode. And then on top of it, we got like the Love American style explosions and stuff. And the whole thing is just so ridiculously over the top. So like, I mean, this is like Kitty Romper Room hour. There's nothing to this. It's not Star Trek. It's not like, I'm glad we got the voices of Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner, and that's about as Star Trek as this gets. So it's a 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10, pure lowest. Well, not the lowest we've ever seen, but it's down there. Stars. As a historically negative voter, what are you giving this episode?
I mean, Oh, I feel like I'm still processing it.
You take one
wasn't-
Megas 2, it hits you in about 2 hours.
It's not really an episode so much as an epileptic seizure.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's just
This is the Star Trek
Like, there's an
equivalent of that
episode-
Pokemon episode. They had to put warnings out in front of it. Isn't it?
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like as an episode of Star Trek, I feel like it's probably like a 1.5 because it makes a vague stab with a very blunt stick at some ideas and doesn't commit to a single one of them. As an episode of a 70s chintzy cartoon with some voices that I recognize, it did make me laugh a lot. I did have a good time watching it. I can't say I hate it. I didn't have a bad time watching it. I feel like I might grab this and show this to someone else just to make them laugh.
Yeah.
And I feel like overall this episode has brought more joy into the world as a result of that than a lot of other worse episodes that are just dull. I will always take entertainingly bad and just sort of insane over, oh, this is a net negative worth for the human race. Which we have had.
Ironically, Satan wasn't.
Yeah, and that is, I think, is exactly describing Star Trek V. So
Yes.
Well, yeah. Yeah, like, if you look at my ratings, you'll see that there's something I've got a negative in this because I feel like they actively damage like Star Trek as a whole. Or the
Code of
fiction
honor.
like, yeah, exactly. And it's like I feel like they actively damage media. Like the concept of telling stories has been damaged, and this did not do that. So I feel like if I'm honest, this is like it's a 4.5 Magic rap battles
cool.
out of 10. It's not good, but I can't say with all my heart that it's bad. It's fine. It's very silly.
I can
silly.
say it was
it's your
bad,
kid.
but
It's your kid's macaroni art. It's like you did your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you! Look at you, kiddo!
I love the idea they showed this episode in front of a load of executives. That, oh, you did your best, didn't you? Oh, look, he's
Executives
trying.
pinned it to the fridge, and yeah.
It's like, we just invested 35 million in this. Oh, look.
This did not have a budget of 35
No,
million.
well, okay, fine, but yeah, I'm thinking modern day budgets, but all right. Yeah, I can say this was bad. It was unhinged. It was wild. You are right, Stars. I had a good time watching it because this is the perfect thing you watch with a load of mates and you laugh at it. That's the best thing about bad episodes of Star Trek is because someone's laughing at it, and that this was perfect for this because just of the absurd things. But there was too many plots. The acting was stilted. Why they chose the devil to be a good guy was bold, and I just lack of enthusiasm for the crew and probably even the scriptwriter who couldn't quite coherently put all these pieces together and explain them. If I was a child watching this, I'd have just been like, pretty colours, what's going on? Like, it took subtitles to understand this one. It was balls to wall. I was entertained. You're right, Stars. But again, you would show this to go, do you want to watch the wildest episode of Star Trek ever? Like, this is just, I can't think of anything more absurd. Literally, I can't think of a more absurd episode than this.
Okay, let me ask you all. Would you rather watch this or Angel 1?
Angel 1. I had a good time watching
Really?
that. Yeah,
I kind of
sure.
would say Angel 1 too.
Really?
Would you rather watch this or The Final Frontier? In which case, I'd rather watch this.
I went with this shorter. Yes.
Yeah. It's quicker.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Run-
all right.
run
All right.
time
All right. Yeah. Would you rather watch this or the scene in Angel 1 where like Troy and Yar are talking before Riker walks in? Like that part
I
of
don't
it.
remember what they even said. I tried to
basically,
remember.
The basic,
Yeah. But anyway, no, okay.
and
I think I would still. Oh. I think I would still watch Angel 1, but this is. Yeah.
I see that I have many appreciators of Angel 1 amongst me. I must prune you.
Sleeper hit.
Actually, I do remember we watched Angel 1. I don't think you were in that review, Stars, but I messaged you after and went, everyone seemed to like Angel 1. You were just like, what is going on? When I step away for 5 minutes and you guys are just coming up with bad ideas.
Puffing fumes? Like, what?
On that note, I'm going to give this a 2. This was wild. I'm certainly show it to other people, but this was not even good for Taz. Like in Taz ratings, I've seen some excellent episodes of Taz. On that note, if you are on the stream, stick about because we're going to be watching TNG's Home Soil next, so stick about for that. But for everyone else, we'll see you in a couple of weeks for our review of said Home Soil. Big Dan Stars, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Next time. What?
Wow.